Hi, this is Ivan. Welcome to the channel. I'm at Sim Expo 2024. I'm at the Flitesim.com. There's no G there. Please pay attention to that. This is Fabian. He's the head of the
Hello, my friend.
organization. An incredible presentation last
Thank you,
night.
sir.
It was awesome. You announced a lot of gear, ranging from, I'm going to call it mid-range up to very high range.
Right.
I'm very interested in the yoke, the CLS-60, and you said there's a 120
That's right.
force feedback yoke. I actually just
Tried it out?
tried it out.
Fantastic.
And I'm ruined.
All right.
I'm ruined. Now I have
That's
to
a
go
cool
back.
idea.
Now I have to go back and use my non-force feedback yoke. But that's a reasonably priced unit.
It is.
At about $800
That's
for the
right.
60.
That's right.
How many Newton meters is that? What was the specs?
So 60 is 60 Newton meters,
Okay.
and the 120 is 120 Newton.
Gotcha.
Easy to remember, right?
It looks like it is 95% metal construction.
That's correct.
It is a beast.
It is.
It's compatible so far with Microsoft Flight Simulator.
That's right.
X-Plane, which
And
is what I was using
and
then.
Pipette.
Okay. And it seems like, at least with X-Plane, there's a lot of good information coming from the sim itself.
Right.
I was feeling the force as I pitched and rolled. I also felt like I was getting some micro kind
Jitters.
of, yeah.
That's right.
And that felt nice too.
That's correct. So what we did was to build a middleware, which is the software, because the software is important, right? It translates your simulator data.
Sure.
And let me share with you a myth. A myth is that the simulator has to provide you with force data to fly accurately.
Okay.
Actually, that's not really true,
Okay.
especially at the lower end of general aviation aircraft. We can use airspeed to approximate forces.
Okay.
For example, if you are close to stall, we know that your control surfaces become mushy, so the forces become light. For
Sure.
example,
Yes.
if we know your maximum structured airspeed, for example, we can also interpolate, right? Your maximum force, minimum force, and everything in between as well.
Okay.
So there's some math involved, but it's absolutely not true that, like some proponents think, for force feedback to be useful, the simulator must output force data. No, you do not need that. You just need some basic physics and some basic math.
So do you have a middleman program that is taking that data from the sim itself and then
Correct.
Okay.
So how it works is that in X-Plane, they have this set of, as you may call it, APIs called data refs.
Sure.
We take selected data refs itself and then we process it and we, translate it into an outcome to tell the models what to do.
Okay.
And, the complexity, of course, is overlaying different types of effects because it's only one model. So sometimes we want it to vibrate, sometimes we want it to give a stall shaker effect itself. So we need to provide it the parameters.
Okay.
So it needs to know, for example, whether you're on the ground or you're in the air. What's your angle of attack? What is your
Right.
airspeed, so on and so forth. Yes. But it's all possible. I mean, we have done it already. So
And your high-end gear, is this gear certified for actual hours? Is it about to be certified? Is it already certified?
that is definitely our 2025 plan for sure.
Okay.
Because our gear is really designed more for pilot training, if
Right.
it makes sense. And actually, my vision and my goal is to transition the flight simmer who gets exposed to aviation, whether it's an Xbox or Microsoft 2020 or X-Plane, into becoming a real pilot, right?
Sure.
So, when we talk about cost of equipment, of course, it's a never-ending story of flight sim hardware, right? You can never have too much money for flight sim hardware. But if we are talking about, pilot training, then I think we can all agree that in the US at least, it's 160 US per hour for an aircraft without instructor, with fuel without instructor.
Correct.
You had the instructor, it's about 250 US, right? 3 hours of that is the equivalent of my CLS-60. That's how I price
Sure.
my products.
And I've said several times, even on the channel, that I'm a private pilot myself.
Okay.
You're a very accomplished pilot.
Right.
I'm not trying. But people say, well, that seems to be a lot of money to put into a simulator. But I would say this. What are the two big things that cancel a flight? Maintenance and weather.
That's correct.
So that 160 that you mentioned, which I think is a little on the cheap side,
You're right.
now you've missed a 2 or 3 hour practice session, and that's going to happen how many times in training? You just paid for a flight simulator.
That's correct.
And so I think it's a wise investment.
From a pilot to a pilot, let me also emphasize that it's not just your private pilot training. a lot of people forget there's also recency involved, right? 90 days, 3 takeoffs and landings, your biennial flight review. If you're instrument rated, you have 6 approaches every 6 months. I mean, even if it's not about recency, it's all about safety.
Sure.
And you know, the most important thing I think that the force feedback yoke gives you is that it prevents what we call negative straining. Let me explain this, right? So in a spring yoke, when you rotate, you pull back, but it becomes uncomfortable after a while because you're pulling back on the forces. So what you do normally, right? You're going to use the trim
it out,
which does nothing for your yoke shaft. The pressure is still there. You're going to artificially have to move forward. Now that's a nose down in the real aircraft.
Right.
You know, and you know, a lot of I think spring yoke pilots get shocked when you go into the real aircraft because the real aircraft doesn't behave like this.
Like I said, I'm ruined. I'm absolutely ruined. It's a wonderful product. It feels great. It doesn't feel like a sloppy attempt at, you know, coming up with a way to apply force feedback to the yoke.
That's right.
Fabian, I appreciate your time. It's a wonderful product. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for hanging out. We're going to do some more videos and enjoy the rest of the show. You guys have a great day.
Take care.